it. This lighting is horrible, huh?
Where are you?
I'm just in this weird little conference room. I
Okay.
thought I
So,
had my ring light here, but it's at home. So
oh,
I was like, oh, I'll choose this room with crappy lighting because I have my ring light. And then like, just kidding. No, I don't.
kidding.
Okay, kidding. It's gonna look really because it's like just so harsh right overhead, you know?
Right when you look up, I can tell there's
Yeah,
yeah.
like, wow. Okay. Okay, I think this will be good. So in the beginning, we'll just kind of do like, hello, welcome, what's going on, that type of thing. I don't want to spend too much time on like, hey, how's it going facilitating this or whatever, because that's not what this call is for.
Right.
But we do have office hours that no one has come to, by the way, not a single person.
Yeah. Have you really had much success with office hours in general? Like with any group of people?
I
I think
mean,
I'll just like put it on their calendar when they
like
want to put it on their calendar.
I attend those type of things.
Okay.
Which is funny because I feel like I'm not like this overachiever type person, but I attend those things like when the partner dashboard had office hours, I was always there because I'm like I want to have a place to ask questions. I'm getting a lot of questions from people, but they're
Okay.
emailing me. They're not doing the office hours. So we did say that it was like required that they attend one a month, and the last one is on Thursday, and one person is registered, Kariana from New York
Oh,
City.
that doesn't surprise me.
I know, she's totally on it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel
Um,
more like they must make some contact with us throughout the month. So whether that's an email or office hours, just like basically
yeah,
we need to have some like know that you're there, you're alive, you're thinking about it. Um,
yeah,
and then right that but that monthly 100% they have to do is that check-in and call where they're like, here's what we're doing, here's the, we'll give you the results and we'll
yeah.
put the plan for the next month.
I
That
do feel like given what's going on with UTMs right now, I probably do need to have a little bit of time in the beginning to just say, hey, how's it going with getting people registered? Are you having any issues? And I'll
Mhm.
like tell you more about the issues later, but girl, it's a mess.
That's
It
so
is a
frustrating.
mess, Ashley. It's
I can't believe that. Like,
It's crazy. We're almost a year into this, and people are getting error messages. And then, like, Jeannie's saying that she signed up and completed courses, and so did Yamaline, but they're not showing up on the partner dashboard. And it's like, I don't even know if our numbers are accurate. I have no idea what's real. I don't know what to tell these subgrant sites now that we're doing the thing that we should have been doing all along. I'm like, well, how would we have been navigating this before? We can't
right,
see
how are
who's
the other people
connected to
navigating
what
it?
UTM.
Yeah.
It is crazy. It's so frustrating to me. And I'm like, I'm towing this line because I'm worried about giving, like, I'm worried about being frustrated with Verizon because then I'm worried that they're going to be like, gosh, you're a hassle to deal with. Let's just ditch this. But I'm like, how are you not getting this feedback from other nonprofit partners?
Right.
I
Yeah.
just, I just don't understand. Yeah, Jeannie and I have had this back and forth, and I'm like trying to track all this stuff. And I'm like, dang, this doesn't feel like what I should have to be spending my time on. And yet, if people can't register and we're already giving them money and their registrations aren't even linking to their UTM, that's really bad.
Yeah, we almost, I mean, in that situation, it's like, how could we possibly give someone a winner, right? We'd have to just split the money 5 ways and say, I mean, we can't, it's a pilot program. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, but it feels like again one of those lack of trust things. And then I don't know about you, but I have been blasted with spam since signing up for edX.
Oh,
Like I get so many spam text messages, I get spam emails, like all of these. Are you looking for a job? This thing because they sell
that's
your info.
yeah.
Like it's just, yeah, it's just problematic. I love the concept. I love the way that we're doing it. Um, is this a little bit better? Yeah, that's a tiny bit better. I love the way that we're doing it, but I just feel like almost no support from Verizon around
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
can't argue with that.
Yeah. Okay, here are some of our people. Okay, I'm getting myself into a positive space. I'm letting go of tech issues for the next hour. I'm letting go of feeling not well and wishing that I was at home. We're bringing hope to the people.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Bring hope.
Let's bring them out, bring them out, bring them out. Okay, I'm admitting people. Hello, all welcome. Happy Tuesday.
Ooh, this feels like one of those weeks where you just saying Tuesday. I'm like, how is it only Tuesday?
I
Like,
know, I
I
agree.
don't know if
Someone
it's
asked
for
me today, how was your weekend? And I'm like, oh my gosh,
that was only two
was
days
that
ago.
recently? I don't even remember. Hi, Bryn, how are you?
Oh,
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Can you remind me who you're connected to?
So I'm with the Center for Family Justice. I'm the new adult advocate here at the center.
Yeah.
I joined back in May.
Okay, awesome. That's a big deal.
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, we're so glad to have you. Thanks for being here.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yeah, we are going to give people like a couple minutes to roll in because we've got some more people that are registered. Hi, Kariana. Hi, Jeannie. We've got a few people registered.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. It's a busy day.
Yeah, and you're rocking that cubicle life this time.
Yeah, I've been on screen all day.
Oh my
It's one of
gosh.
those days.
Yeah. What is that? What does your brain feel like after that?
Right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew what I was getting myself into when I started the day, so it's okay. But I'm looking forward to it ending
Yeah.
and just getting a second to be me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Kariana, are you able to tilt your camera down at all?
Let's see
Oh,
if it'll
yes.
stay.
There we go. Thank you.
Oh, that's a lot of boob. Okay,
We'll cut that part
that's
out.
better.
I have those moments also. I'm like, oh, wow, that was unexpected. Okay. Okay, so we'll pretend we're starting it here because I'll edit it. So, hi, everybody, and
Hello.
welcome. Welcome to session 3. We are really excited to be chatting about the science of hope today. And this is mostly for those who are going to watch the recording, but this is a part of our series where we're essentially teaching you how to facilitate these coaching curriculum sessions. And what's great about it is that when we have a little bit of a smaller group, we're able to do this as a group coaching session, which is likely what you are going to do when you implement the coaching curriculum. But before we get started, I have a couple things. So, Kariana and Jeannie, I've already gotten kind of care package wish lists from you. So thank you so much for sending those in. Bryn, I don't know if you saw that email about the care package that we're sending to y'all. Ashley, are you able to send the form in the chat? You're muted, but I think you said yes.
yeah.
So we're sending y'all a care package, and basically the goal of this is how can we help support you in promoting this program? So think like, well, I'll tell you some of the items that Jeannie and Kariana put on their wish list were things that they could raffle off, like a North Face laptop bag or candy that they can give away at their events, stress balls, binders, gel pens, colored pencils, anything like that. And especially, Bryn, you know your clients better than we do. So whatever you think is going to be motivating and helpful, there's just a really quick and easy form that Ashley just dropped in the chat that you can fill out, and we will formulate these little care package Amazon carts and ship them to you. So make sure you put the shipping address. But we're just like, oh, how can we spoil our sub-grantees? So tell us what you want so that we don't just send you random stuff that we think you might want.
Will do. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then also we have $1,000 set aside for each of our sub-grant sites for printing costs. So we want to help you do things like print flyers, print posters, banners, any marketing type thing, even like a radio. Oh, I'm sorry. The radio ad was a different question. The radio ad, you could spend some of your sub-grant money on something like that. But we want to help you with printing costs. Even if you were like, ooh, let's make a t-shirt that our staff can wear that's a conversation starter, like, hey, ask me about building professional skills, ask me about job training, and it's just gonna spark those types of things. We have $1,000 set aside for each of you. So the thing is that does need to be used by the end of this month. So what you'll do is you'll make whatever your order is and send us your receipt or receipts, and we will tack that money onto your November sub-grant check. And let's see. Oh, another thing is that we have office hours coming up this Thursday on the 23rd. It's at 2:30 Eastern time, which I think is 11:30 Pacific time. I always get those mixed up. But that's a chance to like ask any questions that you have, troubleshoot issues you're having with coaching curriculum, etc. And it's just a great time to like connect, brainstorm, hear some ideas, have a chance to verbally process. And then I wanted to ask Jeannie, I know that you're having UTM issues and I'm on it with that. Ashley and I are going to do some testing afterwards. But Bryn and Kariana, are you having any issues with people using your UTM registration link to create their account?
Ours has worked really well so far. We haven't heard any complaints.
Okay, okay, great. What about you, Kariana?
No, from my knowledge, there hasn't been any issues.
Okay. If you hear of people like getting error messages, or if each of you know people who have definitely completed a course, I would love for you to send their email address to me so that I can check it on our partner dashboard to just make sure everything is showing up where it's intended to show up.
Sounds good.
And thank you. And then for those in attendance as well as those listening, we're going to start imposing a little bit of like a 5-minute rule where at 5 minutes after these facilitation calls start, we're not going to let people into the waiting room. We're going to be a little flexible on it today since we haven't officially announced that. But it just helps like protect this time and helps us to be fully present so that when we do share these recordings, people are like, okay, this isn't this disjointed weird thing. So that is what we will do moving forward. And then, okay, let's pretend like we just walked into the room. You're here for coaching. We're so glad that you're here. I'm gonna throw my view into a different one here. One of the practices that we do when we come together is name it and let it go. You might remember it. So if you do not already have a piece of paper and a writing utensil, I would encourage you to grab that. And I'm going to share my screen so that you can walk along with me as we're going through this, because we're both implementing this curriculum and teaching about it at the same time. So when you are facilitating the coaching curriculum, you get a worksheet that is basically running you through these different pillars of the coaching curriculum and walking you through how to implement that. So in the beginning, you'll kind of welcome people. How's it going? Yada, yada, a little bit of small talk. We're going to skip that for the sake of time and just dive right in. So this practice in the beginning is called Name It and Let It Go. And the idea behind it is that so often our minds are filled with distractions that keep us from being in the present moment. And they could be things like stresses from this day, or things going on in our bodies or in our minds, or reliving the past, or imagining conversations that we need to have in the future. And none of those things have to do with being right here in this present moment. So on a separate piece of paper, I'm going to give you a couple minutes to just write down what some of these mental burdens are that you're letting go of. And I want you to write it down just like this. I am choosing to let go of blank. And then you fill it in and we'll come back and share. I'll remind you that this is not a time to just go like on and on about all the things that you're letting go. We're just getting really concise. The purpose of it is more from a neuroscience standpoint. We're saying it, I'm letting this go, and then I, as your coach, am going to reflect that back. So you can just like mentally totally set that thing aside. Can everyone give me a nod if that's clicking and making sense? Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, take just about maybe a minute and a half to do that. All right, you've got about 15 more seconds. Okay, this is one of my favorite parts. So this is always an opt-in challenge by choice type thing. So we lead people through this practice and then we say, hey, we would love for you to participate in this together. And we do that by taking turns saying, what are the things that you're letting go of? So you say one thing at a time, and then I will respond with, yes, you can let that go. Okay, Ashley, do you want to lead us off?
Absolutely. So I'll say one. I'm choosing to let go of planning my day tomorrow.
Yes, you can let that go. Who else has something they want to share?
I am letting go of my phone notifications.
Yes, you can let that go. That's real. Yeah.
I'm choosing to let go of my emails.
Yes, Jeannie, you can let that go.
I'm choosing to let go of my time anxiety.
Ooh, yes, you can let that go. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Usually we would have like a few different ones that are shared depending on what you wrote down. Like I wrote down 3 because my brain's feeling a little scattered today, but we won't go through that. I do want you to take a moment though and reflect, what does it feel like to speak that thing out loud and then have someone, me, say, you can let that go? Did you feel any shift in your energy, any type of way?
I think that I think it's not necessarily the phrase, but the way that you say it makes me feel like it is something that I should be letting go of.
Mm,
um so
interesting. So
so
take
yeah.
note of that as a facilitator of this. We we are going to have the most impact when we put heart and empathy and compassion behind whatever it is. And notice how like I have to try really hard to do this, to not be like, oh my gosh, I totally get it. I have to let go of that too. This is not about me as the coach. This is about you as the client and the learner, in the same way that when you're the coach, you're making it about your people. You're not there to be like, I get it. I got my own list too. No, it's not about that. It's just about them. So that's why the response internally for me is, oh my gosh, I totally resonate with that. But how it comes out, it sounds like how it comes out is something that you're like, whoa, she gets it, and I can let that go. And I don't have to say any other words to communicate that. It's just in how it is said. Bryn, what did you notice in participating in that practice?
It kind of provided like a form of validation in a sense. Like, no, you're not crazy for wanting to let that go. You are completely valid in what you're saying of
Yeah.
wanting to let that go, and you're not alone in that either. But it's not like a direct form of saying, like what you just said. You're not directly saying, yeah, me too, girl. You're saying, no, I hear you, but yes, you can let that go.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Thanks for sharing. Jeannie, do you notice any impact when you do that practice?
Yeah, actually, because it's an intentionality of our thought and our action, right? So then because I tend to want to multitask when I'm on this call and when I'm on any calls, I need to get stuff done. And I'm like,
Yep.
and I'm like, no. And so that's actually doing that caused me to stop and
Yeah.
say, nope, I'm going to let that go. I'm going to let go of my emails. I'm going to let go. And then I'm actually just like relaxing. So
Yeah.
it was very helpful. Yeah.
Good. I love that. That's a really important insight that you just made. So we're living in this crazy virtual world, and obviously we can't all be flying in to have this particular session together, but that is the power of you all being local and in proximity with your learners, is that you can bring them in person so that they're not like, oh, on a laptop, it is true. It's like you have your text, you have your email, you have Teams, all these things that we want to close that out. So like I'm even right now just going to close out all the things that I don't need anything right now other than my my worksheet and YouTube. Those are the only things that I need right now. So I want to encourage you to close those out as well. I am going to let Tiziana in because we're just still right at the beginning here. Hi, Tiziana, welcome. We just went through our first practice called Name It and Let It Go, and we're going to skip over that part for you, but we're just going to let you jump in. If you can come on camera, that would be awesome. We're doing this more like a group coaching session because that's likely how most people will be facilitating it. Hi, welcome. Okay, so once people have let that go, and I even like to have the option, if it's on a separate piece of paper, of like crumpling it up and setting it to the side because it's just this added layer of this is separate from me right now. It's going to be there afterwards, but we don't have to worry about it in this moment. And then we come into our somatic practice. So we just made it so that our minds are present, and now we're helping our bodies to be present in this moment. And you can go ahead and read what it says under somatic practice, but I'm going to give you a little bit of context behind this. So our last session, we did session 2, Reclaiming Your Voice, and those who were present came up with their own personalized affirmations. So if you have those with you right now, or you can turn to them, or maybe you've been writing them down and you remember them, have those with you. Part of why we do these somatic practices, they all have what's called bilateral stimulation. So they're stimulating both sides of the brain. And similar to EMDR, when you go through EMDR therapy, it's basically that rapid eye movement. And for us, different parts, sides of the brain is taking memories that are in short term and filing them into long term. So this is great for trauma because you're less likely to get triggered. That's why EMDR therapy is so effective. But part of why we pair it with the truth about you statements is so that those become more of a long-term memory and gets more deeply embedded in our brains and the way we think and process the world and all of that. So I want to invite you, I'm using that language, I want to invite you, because you can RSVP yes or no, to place your hands on the top of your thighs. And I'm taking a moment right now because I'm recognizing like, ooh, my nervous system is feeling a little bit dysregulated. I'm just kind of rubbing my hands on my thighs. I'm noticing the texture of my jeans. And in these moments when you're facilitating, you may have clients that really want to close their eyes, and that feels safe and supportive to them of this practice. But there are other people for whom that is not going to feel accessible. It's going to be outside of their window of tolerance, as we say. So you can encourage people to close their eyes or just to find a pleasant place to look at. So placing your hands on your thighs, you can kind of move your hands back and forth, notice the texture beneath your fingertips. You might notice that you want to sigh or yawn or your ears pop. And these are all little tiny signs that the body and nervous system is shifting into a place of a little bit more safety, a little bit more rest and digest. And like I said, you can just read through this and the practice itself is beneficial, but I want to explain this to you. When we're making contact with the boundary of our own bodies, we're giving our brains something called proprioceptive input. And it's basically saying, hey, body, this is where I am in space. I'm right here. I'm sitting in this chair. I'm in a coaching session. And it helps to ground us into the moment. And then I want to invite you to kind of just gently tap right and left, nice and slowly. You might find that you want to pair your breath with this. So maybe you inhale for 4 taps and exhale for 4 taps. And this is where the truth about you, these affirmations come in, that you can choose to speak these in your own mind. If you were in a group coaching session, it might be best to just recite them quietly. If you're doing one-on-one and your learner or your client is comfortable, they could say them out loud and you can respond back to them. So Ashley, do you have your truth about you statements nearby?
I was actually looking for them and I don't, but I can,
Okay, that's okay.
I come up with at least two.
Yeah, come up with two. For this moment, we're just gonna pretend that Ashley and I are in a one-on-one session. So she would be gently tapping her legs back and forth, right and left. And while she's doing that, she would say one of her affirmations out loud, and I'm gonna repeat it back to her.
All right. First one is I am smart enough to do the things I want to do.
You are smart enough to do the things you want to do.
I'm trying to think of another one. Oh, I found it.
Yay.
I am good at figuring things out.
You are good at figuring things out. And then when this moment comes to a close naturally, and you can kind of feel the energy shifting, you might watch your learner get a little bit more relaxed. What my body is wanting right now is just like a little hug, just like, okay, I'm here, I'm loved. My affirmations about me are true. The truth about me is real. And then we want to thank people. Hey, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for participating in that practice. And now we've got our coaching video that we're going to move into. So enjoy this 8-minute video. Today's session is all about the science of hope. And as you watch it, I want you to think about it through the lens of your own life. How does the science of hope relate to your life specifically? Oh, you know what? I need to do audio share. Hang on. Hello and welcome to session 3, the science of hope. This session is all about determining what hope is and how can you get more of it in your life. I hate to break it to you, but you've probably been using the word hope wrong all these years because this is how we usually use hope. Oh, hey, yeah, you're going on a camping trip this weekend? Oh gosh, I hope it doesn't rain. That is not hope, and I'm going to tell you why. Hope has a recipe. According to the late psychologist Rick Snyder, in order to have true hope, you need to have 3 things. You need to have a goal, you need to have willpower, and you need to have way power. Let's break down what those things mean. Without these 3 ingredients, all that you are left with is a wish. A wish is something that we want for someone else or that we want for ourselves, but we have no control over. For instance, I have no control over whether or not it rains on your camping trip. That is a wish. That is not hope. When it comes to determining what your goal is, I want to remind you that your goal has to be just that, yours. It cannot be anybody else's goal. In order for you to have a goal as a part of your recipe of hope, it has to be something that matters to you. You need to be intrinsically motivated to make this goal happen. Here's a really quick framework to use when you're trying to decide what your goal is. Make it SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So you got to get clear on what exactly your goal is. For instance, instead of saying, I want to be stronger, you could say, I want to be able to do 5 push-ups. That is very specific. And it needs to be measurable. You will know, did I do 5 push-ups or did I not do 5 push-ups? And then it needs to be achievable. I'm not going to have a goal of slam dunking because I'm only a 5'7" mom. It's not going to happen for me, and that's okay. But I could make a goal of doing 5 push-ups. That's achievable for me. And then is it relevant? Whatever your goal is it relevant to your life? For me, doing 5 push-ups would be relevant for my life because I want to be strong enough to keep up with my super wild son. And then time bound. You need to set a deadline for yourself. By a certain date, you will achieve said goal. It's easy to go into the conversation about goal setting thinking of really large goals, and that may be appropriate for you at this season of life to dream really big when it comes to a new career or a raise. But there may be moments where you're not ready for a big goal. You may need to make your goal something smaller, like walking around the block once a day, or applying for one new job every week, or spending 15 minutes on your Skill Forward course. The great news when it comes to hope is that hope will increase regardless of what the goal is, regardless of the size of the goal. So if you need to make it small, make it small. And hope begets hope. The more you set a goal, no matter how small, and then you achieve it, you are reminding yourself that you are capable. And then you'll set a bigger goal. The goals can continue to get bigger because you will be proving to yourself that you can do it. So you set the goal. The other two aspects are willpower and way power. Willpower, we know what this is. It's also known as agency. It's the ability, the desire within ourselves to do the hard work that is necessary to get where we want to go or to achieve our goal. When it comes to willpower, it can be really helpful to put willpower up next to our socially acceptable compulsions and addictions. I'm looking at you, TikTok, Instagram, Netflix. We have so many things in our lives that offer us temporary distraction, and I believe that they are keeping us stuck. Often, if your desire for your long-term goal is not as strong as your compulsion to binge watch or to fall into a scroll hole on TikTok, your willpower is not that strong. And you need to get very clear about why you want to achieve this goal. You have to keep your future goal and even your future identity in mind in order to keep your willpower very strong. You need that to be able to have hope in your life. This is why it's so important to choose a goal that matters to you. You are way more likely to do the work if you are fully in touch with why achieving this goal would make a difference in your life, no matter how big or small. Next up is way power. This is also often referred to as a pathway. So if you think of it like this, you're driving in your car, you're using GPS, you have your destination set. That is your goal. You want to get to this birthday party because you're celebrating your friend and you're so excited about it. Let's say that you take a wrong turn. Your GPS isn't going to say, well, you took the wrong turn, now you're donezo. The GPS is going to reroute. And when we have really skilled pathways thinking, we are able to find multiple paths to get to the same goal. You will likely come against barriers in your journey to increasing hope in your life. You will come upon difficult moments when it comes to upskilling and goal setting. And the aim is not that we never come across barriers. That is inevitable. It will happen. The goal is to be able to reroute and find a new pathway to get to the goal that matters so much to you. The main thing I want you to hear right now is that hope is not static. If you are in a season of life right now where you're experiencing apathy, which is the opposite of hope, it's a lack of care, it's a feeling that what I do doesn't make a difference. No matter how hard I work, it's not going to move the needle. Hope is dynamic and it changes. So I encourage you to dream big, but to start small. If you need to make your goal that you're going to get out of bed and take a shower today, allow yourself to celebrate that. Figure out how you can set up systems in your life to make that as easy as possible. Maybe you hang your towel right by your bed so that when you wake up, you just grab it and you walk right into the bathroom. That's your reminder. This is a no shame zone. No goal is too small and no goal is too big. Take some time with your coach to talk about what your goals are in life, in the Verizon Skill Forward program, in this season right now. And no matter what, remember, you are not stuck. Hope is alive and you have the power to grow it. Thank you for being here. Okay, there's our hope video. Awesome. Does everyone have the worksheet pulled up next to you by any chance? We emailed it out on Monday. You don't. Okay. Let me see if I can drop it in the chat for you.
I didn't receive the email for it. I don't know if I'm on the right email chain or
I
not.
wonder if you're not.
I
Yeah.
got this one. I think my supervisor is on the correct one, but
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, we will make it happen. I just sent the PDF in the chat, so you should all be able to follow along with that. But
Just drop your email in the chat just so we know we have it. And I'll
oh
jot it.
yeah, good call. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ashley. Awesome. So then as the coach, I'd be looking along my worksheet. We just watched this video and I want to hear reflections. So first I would probably just say like, hey, what did you think about that video? Have you ever heard of this concept before? I mean, obviously you probably have, but everybody unmute yourselves. This is a group session. So we're talking, we're the learners, we're going for it. What did you think of that video?
I think you did an amazing job. I think it
Oh,
was very
well, thank you.
clear. I thought it was very clear. I did read the book, so it's wonderful and a great reminder of exactly kind of the path forward, what hope means. So I thought it was very helpful. It was very succinct and direct. So it gives some good direction.
Yeah, good. Thanks, Jeannie.
I really liked the restructuring of how we think of the word hope. It kind of reminded me of this quote that I heard before that was like, a goal without a plan is a dream. Like it's similar in the aspect of like
Yeah.
you have to work towards it.
Mhm.
It's not something that you just have,
Yeah.
that's out of your control. So I really liked that.
Yeah. Thanks, Kariana.
I
Friend.
really I really liked how you went in about the SMART goals. I actually learned about that in my last semester of college, which was this past spring, and I remember it had been a really hard concept for a lot of people to grasp, and I think the way that it was worded made it very simplified but still detail oriented
Oh,
of
good.
like what needs to be said and done for people to understand it, but also to follow it better. Um, so I think that's really cool. I think a lot of the clients are also going to relate to that and are
Yeah.
going to be able to grasp it and understand it. Um, so I think that'll be really helpful.
Yeah, it's a really, find it to be a really helpful framework, especially for our folks that we're working with, that maybe goal setting and forward thinking is going to feel very foreign because of power having been taken away and voices being silenced and being in so much survival mode. And that is why we have formulated and structured this coaching curriculum in the way that we have, because when you're stuck in that place of survival mode, just from a Paleolithic and neurobiological standpoint, there are all of these things that go offline, and dreaming and goal setting and forward thinking does not matter if your body is like, but I'm running from a saber-toothed tiger, right? So we're trying to address all these things at once, like the somatic practice to bring the nervous system back into a more regulated place and give tools to our learners that they can do really anytime. So when y'all think about your future, and this is a real question. You can role play if you want to, but I would love to just hear your real goals. What is one goal that feels exciting to you? And it's also totally acceptable to say, I do not have a goal right now.
I can share. Um, so I have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, and before I had children, I was very active
Mm,
and my body was strong. I mean, it's still strong, it's just different.
different. So
So
different.
yeah, so I have goals that are finally like I'm having a little more time now, to get to a place of fitness that I feel confident and strong again. Like
Yeah.
it's a different strength that I have now,
Yeah.
but I actually want to feel it and like be able to lift things without having like a little struggle. I know that
Yeah.
as we get older, it's kind of hard to avoid, but like thinking that goal of being fit enough to sustain long term
Mm-hmm.
is something that I'm excited about because I know it'll benefit me as an elder when I reach that
Yeah,
age.
absolutely. Yeah, I love that. So when you think about that goal, what I heard you say is like the goal is fitness and strength. So if you were to run that goal through the SMART, is it, gosh, I can't even remember what the first one is right now. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. Like, are you able to think, okay, this isn't just get stronger, get fit? Like, what is the goal?
Well, my first goal, I started going to the gym again. So
Yes.
fresh in my mind.
Yay. That's
Um,
a big win.
I did my BMI like calculation and I have to lose 13 pounds. So I
Okay.
would try to do that by the end of the year.
Love it. So
That would
doable.
be my first goal.
Yes, that is so doable. You can absolutely do that. So you have your date. You're like, this is when I'm trying to do this. This is the amount that I'm trying to lose, and the pathway is through exercise and movement, and probably maybe some food related changes too, I would guess.
That's the hardest part.
I know it is. It's so hard.
But yes,
So hard. I love that. Thanks so much for sharing, Tiziana.
thank
That's
you.
awesome. That's a great way of looking at the goals through this SMART filter, but also through the science of hope. Like if you have a goal and willpower, but you don't actually have the pathway, you don't have hope and you're not going to achieve that goal. You have to figure out what is the way that I'm actually going to accomplish this. Yeah. Who else? Bryn, would you like to share a goal with us?
Sure. My one of my biggest goals right now is to go back to school next semester.
Mm,
I want to go for my MSW. So to kind of start that, I am starting with the application process. And there's a lot of little goals along the way to that big one. The
yeah.
first one is being, well, I guess technically this one's not like a goal, it's more so a hurdle than anything. I have to get into my previous school email to get my transcripts to then start
They
building
make it so
everything.
hard. They make it so hard.
So that's kind of my goal. I am a first generation on both sides of my family, so it was a big one.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. Way to go. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Who else has a goal that they want to share?
I was thinking about it as you're talking. I do have goals. I tend to be a very global, big picture type of goals, but I'm kind of bringing them down to something more specific. And really, one of the goals, which is what I'm doing right now with you guys, is I always want to be a great. I want to be the best that I can be at serving the staff and caring about the staff and helping them know that they're valued and investing in them. And so the reason why I'm doing this with you instead of having another staff member do this is because I want to grow in this particular area of coaching, of encouragement, of helping people think through their journey and just lifting them up. So that's my goal and a privilege that I have. And so this is actually a step in my goal is meeting here on these calls.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks for sharing, Jeannie. So I have a follow-up question for you. So how are you going to know that when you have achieved this goal? And what is the date by which you're like, I'm doing this by this date? Getting really specific about it.
Yeah, so it's interesting because I don't feel like there's an end date. I feel like this is an ongoing learning journey, and I implement the things that I learn all along the way. So I am doing the goal, but I'm just growing at getting better. I don't think we ever stop the journey of learning, and
For
even
sure.
of an encouragement and how do I say this better or what good questions could I ask? So to me, this is a forever journey.
Yeah.
I've been on it for a long time, and I'm still on it. And so it's just gathering more and just doing better. I don't have an end date for that. Is there any more specific things you have questions that I could help?
Well, I would if we were having like a real coaching session, I would encourage you to take this larger, long-term, lifelong goal and break it into something smaller. Like, hey, by the end of this year, I want to take 5 of my staff members out to coffee, and I have a checklist, and I know when this is happening, and my, objective of this is to get to know them and encourage them and whatever that is, to get specific on it. And that's what you would want to do when you're facilitating coaching as well, because even like with Tiziana's goal of health and fitness, that's going to be a lifelong journey, but we want to have these benchmarks along the way so that we're able to really clearly track progress. So that would be what I would encourage you to think about, is just getting specific about the goals inside of this lifelong goal.
Got it. So let me ask you this, because I do a lot of stuff already, like one-on-ones. I do take them out. I do put things on their desk. I do all kinds of things, like send kudos and all that stuff. So I guess my question for you would be, I guess I'm always trying to come up with new ideas of what other ways could I lift up the staff, and can I encourage them, let them know that they're valuable, and pour into them. And so are you suggesting then that's part of the goal, is to create the new ideas and come up with, or maybe even say, I'm going to come up with 5 new ideas or 3 new ideas for the end of the year, by the end of the year, of ways I can invest in them. Is that what you're...
Well, I would point it back to you. So remember, as coaches, our job is to help pull these types of things out of our learners. Because if I'm giving you ideas, well, why don't you do XYZ? You didn't come up with that, right? So like, you're going to be less likely to actually implement those things. So if we were in a one-on-one session, we would have more time to dive into like, what feels the most important? Is there anything that you haven't done yet related to this that you've thought, oh gosh, I've always wanted to, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
That's great.
It would be up to you to figure out what that was, and I would help you kind of verbally process through that and just be a sounding board.
Yeah, that's perfect. I think that's probably what I need right there, right? I need to learn how to do that, right? I need to learn how to ask the right questions, how to be just a sounding board.
Yes.
And that's the area that I do need to grow in. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
I relate to that as well. And this is just me putting back on my like normal Carrie Ann hat, because I'm like, oh my gosh, but I have great ideas and I want to share them with people. But people are not going to be very likely to take my ideas. They know themselves better than I do. And so like, for them to come up with their own goals and their own pathway to get there. And then our job as coaches, as you see this discovery process unfold, is to just be like, yes, that is a great idea. Write that down. That sounds like a great way for you to create a pathway to your goal. And then when they walk away from that coaching session, they're like, dang, I have good ideas. And I know myself really well. Like, I do know what I need. And now I just need the support to do it, which is what these coaching sessions are about. Does that make sense?
That's perfect. I love it.
So that's just a little bit of like this kind of psychology behind it.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ashley, do you have a goal you're working towards?
I do. I'll be very vague in it because it's a top secret program goal, but basically a goal to grow a program within domesticshelters.org that is generates revenue for our organization. So
Awesome.
should have come up with one that I could be more specific on, but that's the first
That's
one.
okay. In your mind, do you have a date by which you're trying to accomplish this?
Yeah, I very much do. By the end of the first quarter, when I have 10 new people signed up, and then by the end of the year, when I have 30.
Amazing.
have
I
some
love
goals.
it. So really specific, and you're going to know that you're accomplishing this when what happens? It's going to say, hey, I did it. I'm doing it.
When I have 10 people that are onboarded and
Okay.
happy with the service.
And money's coming in, right?
And coming in, yes. So we
when
can
you
fund
see
our,
that first deposit, you're going to be like, I did it.
yes.
That's awesome. I love that so much. Does anybody else want to share anything related to a goal for the future that's exciting to you? That's okay. Awesome. So we have these 3 ingredients of the science of hope, right? So you have to have the goal, Then you have the willpower, your agency. And when we say agency, oh shoot, I have a typo on the worksheet. I'm so sorry. I put agency twice and it should say pathways on one of them. But when we talk about agency, we're not talking about your domestic violence agency. We're talking about the agency of self. Hey, I have the power to make changes in my life, to cause a ripple effect. The decisions that I make impact my future. I can do that. I got the power. That kind of agency, okay? And then we have the way power or the pathways, which is that ability to reroute. And like Carrie Ann said in the video, we need to find different ways to get to the same goal because we should expect roadblocks. I say this in all our welcome calls, like, hey, you should expect for there to be moments when you want to quit, you want to give up, you're like, what does it even matter? I'm done with this. And in those moments, our willpower is going low, and we need to help remind people why they chose this goal, why this matters to them. And we do that by asking questions. But then the way power is, okay, well, I thought I could spend time on this when my kid was at soccer practice, but now I'm all of a sudden the volunteer coach. So now I have to find a different pathway to get to where I want to go. And the more creative that we can be in that, we are going to be more likely to accomplish set goals. So when you think about your goal and you think about this hope recipe, I'm wondering if there's a certain element of it that feels the strongest and a certain element that feels the weakest. Like, ooh, my goal is super strong. Like for me right now with a goal that I have, my goal and my pathway are very, very clear, but my willpower is dwindling a little bit in this moment. And I'm like, ooh, what do I need to do to get that back engaged so that I can have this beautiful trifecta that brings about hope? So when you think about this with your goal, where are you at with willpower, way power? Yes, Kariana, bring it on, girl.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, do you think that when your willpower is low for something, it means that it's not something that you really actually want?
I think that's a really simple question with a really complicated answer. So, some people would say yes. If you don't have high willpower around this, then it doesn't matter to you. But we're a little bit more complex than that. So, there are going to be seasons when we're like, struggling with depression or executive functioning is low because of trauma and nervous system regulation, and I can want something till the grass-fed cows come home, but like the actual forward movement might be very difficult for me because I'm struggling. And in that case, my recommendation to someone is let's start smaller. Like, let's start with a goal that is so small that you cannot fail at it. And then we celebrate the crap out of whatever that win is. So I had a coaching call a while back with someone who was like, when I was starting to learn about the science of hope, I couldn't set a big goal. I was struggling so much that the only thing that was gonna like be possible for me was get out of bed and take a shower. So that example that I gave in the video, that was from a real conversation that I had with someone. And sometimes that's where we need to start. So when we're in this challenging spot, and now I'm speaking as Carrie Ann, who's teaching you how to coach, not like in the coaching moment itself, right? When our goal is so big that we're paralyzed about starting, like let's put that on pause for later. And what can we do right now to increase belief in self that I can keep the promises that I make to myself? Let's start with something smaller. And we're building that confidence so that, like I said in the video, we start with something small and then we're like, okay, if I can get out of bed and shower 5 days out of 7, that's pretty darn good. That's way more often than I take a shower. It would be impressive. But if I can do that, okay, I got that. I have this on lockdown and now I can build on it. I'm going to get out of bed, I'm going to take a shower, and I'm also going to walk around the block before I start working. And then we're building, building, building. Does that make sense? So I don't think you always need a new goal, but I think it can be something you want that you're just really struggling to make forward movement towards because of a lot of other factors. Yeah, that's
I
probably not a
think that's
very
really good.
helpful answer, but I think
No,
it's true.
it was actually very helpful because it answered the question a little bit, but I think that it kind of got to another root of that question even coming up, right?
Mm,
Which is the solution of breaking
mm,
down the goal into even smaller goals that make
yeah.
it feel more achievable or more attainable.
Yes.
Um, and I guess my only question to that, or like, what happens when you have a goal, right? That is important, but it's not necessarily because it's important to you, but it's because it has like weight to it, right? That like affects
Mhm,
other things in your life, and you're
mhm.
struggling with that. So it's like you don't have the intrinsic motivation towards it because it's
Yeah.
not necessarily something that like you're like, oh my God, like I really want this, but it's more so like, oh my God, I really have to do this type thing, you know?
Yes. So I think that's a really important distinction is that we can sometimes get bogged down with all the work between here and there that we're like, all we see is work. This is so hard. But I was listening to this fantastic motivational speaker. His name is Brendan Burchard. He's got a podcast called Motivation with Brendan Burchard, very straightforward. And he does these like 20, 30-minute podcast episodes where it's all motivational stuff in all kinds of ways. And he says if you are struggling to do the work that it takes to get to the goal that you say that you really care about, it's because you're not thinking about your future identity.
Mm,
So for me, with some of my health related goals, I've been overwhelmed by them for years, and I'm like, oh, I can't do it. But it's because all I was thinking about was the work. I'm not imagining myself on the other side and like, what is it going to look like if I do all this work? And if you're one-on-one with a client, I would have you like you're asking questions, you're dreaming with them, you're trying to understand like if it's let's say they're like I want to get out of my crappy job at McDonald's or whatever and I want to be making 50 or $60,000 a year. I'm like, "Yes. That is an amazing goal. Like what is your life going to look like if you're making 50 or $60,000 a year?" And then they're talking it out loud. They're imagining it like I'd be able to pay for the health care that I actually need. I could take my kid to get new clothes for school and not just at the thrift store. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Like, we're dreaming with them, we're helping them envision this so that in those moments when the willpower gets low again, we're not thinking, you can do this work. We're saying, let's get in touch with future self again and think about why does this matter? Why does this matter to you? And then they're putting themselves in the like, oh yeah, I make enough money. I feel so confident walking into Target and buying new clothes instead of like getting free stuff from Goodwill bins. Like they're there. They're picturing that. Doesn't that feel so different to think about it that way? And then like as
yeah.
a coach, we're just like hyping them up so much. It's all about staying in touch with that vision of the future and that vision of what am I going to be like after I accomplish this? How's my life going to be different? We have to stay in touch with that. So coming back to the discussion questions, does anyone have an element of the science of hope that you're like, this is weak for me right now, to be honest? Like my pathway, I don't have a pathway to this, or my willpower is low, or my goal's not that clear. And as a facilitator of the coaching session, I would just let it sit for a minute. There's usually a person who's like, I want to share, but I'm scared or whatever. And I would just let it sit.
I think the hardest part for me about setting smart goals specifically is the time element
Mm,
and putting a time frame on the
mhm.
goal, because I feel like once there's a time attached to the goal, it makes it easier to fail, because
Ooh.
if you don't meet by that time. Because like I can say like, oh, I want to do this thing, right? And if I say I want to do this thing by the end of the month and I don't do it by the end of the month, I failed. But if I just say, oh, I want to do this thing and I do it in 2 months, then I didn't fail because I did it.
Mm-hmm. Which at that point, like if you and I were in a one-on-one session, we would unpack what is failure? Is it something that we actually need to be afraid of? Or is
Mhm.
it just info? It's okay, well, I learned that I was a little bit too short on my timeline there, right?
Mhm.
Like I need to give myself a little bit more time, or whoa, I said I was gonna do like one module a week on my Skill Forward course, but I didn't actually put it in my calendar. That's why I didn't even do it. So it's data. To me, it's just data. We could feel terrible about ourselves, or we could say, okay, I am going to choose to learn from every failure that I have so that I can make my goals better every time. That's what we would talk about. I'm like, it's not failure, it's learning. Okay, I recognize that somehow we only have 5 minutes left. And I know I've said this before, but if you're doing a group session, I strongly recommend giving yourself much more than an hour, like probably an hour and a half. And we did have some housekeeping things, but I want to walk you through these discussion questions so that you know kind of what they are and what the intention behind them is. And then I'll walk you through the reflection questions briefly. So we want people to think, gosh, my willpower is low. How do I need to increase that, et cetera? And then we're looking at what barriers have you faced that made it hard to reach your goals in the past. When we identify the barriers, we're able to do it better next time, right? Which is exactly that failure conversation of like, oh, shoot, my barrier was that I said I was going to do it, but I never wrote it down. And it turns out I'm a write it down person. So that's something that made it hard to reach my goals. I wasn't using my own, like the way my brain functions to be able to kind of hack my own motivation. And then how do you picture your hope for the future being strengthened through Verizon Skill Forward? So this is where we're coming back to actually professional skill building, and we're inviting people into envisioning like, oh, I think my hope would be really increased if I walk out of this with a professional certificate in leadership and communication or cybersecurity or whatever it is. And then we always end with wins. So what's one win you had last week? What's one win that you are planning this week? Because we plan wins. Wins don't happen to us. We say, these are my wins. That's how I write a to-do list. I don't say, these are the things I need to get done. I'm like, these are all the things I'm going to accomplish. I'm going to kick butt today by doing blah, blah, blah. Like we reframe that. It's not a to-do list. We're planning wins. It's going to be a victory. And that's usually how we go out. And then the reflection questions, as you can see on the worksheet, it says, this week I aim to spend blank amount of minutes writing about the questions below. We want people to get in this mindset. Now we're in first person instead of this week, try to spend this amount of time. They're reading this week. I aim to spend 25 minutes or whatever, writing about the questions below. And then all of the reflection questions are intentionally in the first person. So what tools, resources, or hacks helped me achieve a goal that I thought was impossible? How can I employ that strategy with my new goal? We often forget the things that we do that are helpful for us, and then we're inventing the wheel every single time. Like, oh yeah, I know that having a group of friends who are holding me accountable that I'm checking in with, that's really helpful for me. Why don't I do that again with this goal? Like, I have people that love me. I'm going to utilize this network. Or, gosh, it really helps me to set alarms on my phone, whatever. We're wanting people to think through those types of things. And then the next one is hope increases when I accomplish small goals as well as big goals. What is one small goal I can make for myself this week related to Skill Forward? And a reminder for all of you is that we're celebrating every little thing. Okay, if someone's like, I opened my course and I did 10 minutes, we're like, yes, 10 minutes. That is a win. And when someone is met with that type of enthusiasm and celebration, you cannot help but be like, oh my gosh, I wonder if I could do 20 minutes. Like, people are going to be so proud of me if I do this. So we want to just celebrate all these tiny goals. And then this is an important one. Of the 5 people I spend the most time with, who helps increase hope in my life? What are ways I can connect with this person more? if we're surrounded by people who are dragging us down and they're like, girl, what's the point in that? That's a stupid scam course that you're doing. You're like, no, it's a real thing. We don't need that type of energy, right? Like, we want people around us that are encouraging us, they're cheering us on, they're celebrating the wins that we have. And the only way that we're going to increase our time with those people is by recognizing, like, not only do I love being around these people, but also they're helping move me in the direction that I want to go. And wisdom says, I keep these people close by. These are the people I need when the going gets tough, right? So we want to help people identify those. I know we're at time. If you need to leave, you absolutely can. This is being recorded, but I do want to leave just a few minutes in case anybody has questions about how to facilitate this session or anything in general. Just now is your moment. Or office hours on Thursday.
Do you have the recordings from the previous two sessions? I wasn't
Yeah.
at those, so if I could just see them, that would be really helpful.
Absolutely. We will add you to the email list, and then I will send you a specific email just personally after this with recordings and worksheets and all of that. Bryn, will you be the person who's facilitating this?
Yes.
Okay.
Me and my supervisor, Marissa G.
Love it. She is so awesome.
Yes.
Okay, to Bryn. Okay, great. I will get all of the things to you so you have it all in one place.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
you're welcome. Any other questions or reflections?
Mm.
Okay.
I think I
Are
have
your
a
wheels turning,
question.
Ariana? Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Um, in the like coaching mentee relationship, right?
Mhm.
The person that you're coaching, they're looking to you as like the person that's going to help them make everything better, right? And so
Thanks.
when what happens like if you're met with a situation where you don't have the answers or like you don't have the guidance, um how do you approach that without having the person like lose confidence, I guess, and like your
Mm.
ability to coach them forward?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think there's a phrase that's coming to mind that we are really bad at saying. So let's say it all together. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know. I'm gonna work on getting the answer to that and or finding someone who knows the answer and connecting you with them. How human is it to just be like, I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I wish I did, but it's human, right? So there have been moments in my coaching experiences as well where like someone's looking for stuff related to cybersecurity and I'm like, I am really sorry, but that is not my area of expertise. I've tried to get this person connected with someone who's in that space. But I think there's a lot of power in saying, I don't know, let me work on that for you. And ultimately what we want to be doing too as coaches is we're not wanting to bring people to us for answers, right? Like there will be things that we have the answers to because we're more well versed in Verizon Skill Forward and the learning platform and courses and finding jobs and all the things. But at the end of the day, we want to continually bring the confidence and empowerment back to the client. So also don't be afraid to encourage someone else to look that up. I think when we're in a victim mindset, we ask a lot of questions that we actually could go find the answer to. Do you know what I mean? And so maybe you just say like, "Oh, that's a good question. Have you done any research on that yet?" Instead of saying, "Well, just go Google it." Right? It lands so differently. Like, "Have you done any research on that? What have you found out?" And do it together. If they're like, "I can't." I'm like, "Okay, let's look it up."
I've come across that with a lot of my clients as well, and a lot like I'll be honest with them and tell them I'm not entirely sure on this. However, we can look at it together, and
Yeah.
I kind of try to base it from a together standpoint because I don't want to pretend like I know something and go off that basis when I clearly don't and make a fool out of myself or
Yeah.
potentially harm them and their thoughts. So I tend
Yeah.
to kind of go at it from the basis of, look, I don't know, but we can learn together. That way you're
Yes.
not alone and you don't feel alone in learning.
Absolutely. And if I was just like my nervous system just had this like, oh gosh, that would be so nice to hear, especially for survivors who many of whom are coming in already feeling like this low man on the totem pole, like less than charity case, whatever, like how amazing to have someone in a helper role be like, let's learn together. You and me, like we're humans. We're the same. We have different life stories and we all have our different backgrounds, but it offers so much dignity and humanity to learn alongside someone instead of being the holder of the answers. I love that perspective, Bryn. Thanks for sharing that.
Welcome.
Awesome. Well, that is all we've got for this one. If you want to come to our office hours on the 23rd, it's at 11:30 Pacific time, 2:30 Eastern time. You can ask questions. You can talk about how these coaching sessions are going, if you've started implementing them, and just come and be seen, heard, have some ideas bounced around, and we'll have a grand old time.
Awesome. Thank you
Awesome.
so
Thank
much.
you
Thank
so much for
you.
being here. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Okay, bye.